Hello, this video is about mounting solar panels on your roof. Now, I'm not an expert at doing this, but I'm showing you some of the tips that I figured out when I was doing it. If you're going to be following my video, you're going to assume all responsibility for all your actions. It is quite dangerous. My roof isn't quite high off the ground, but it's probably high enough if you fell off the damn roof, you bust your ass and break your neck. So if you're doing it, you need to take all safety precautions to make you feel safe. And if you fall, it's on you. Or if you hurt yourself, it's on you. So again, okay, this is getting back to the video. I'm going to show you some of the tips that I figured out when I was doing mine. I'm putting 14 panels on my roof, and I'm using Unistrut systems. So the first thing I did doing this project was set up the design, make the design of how I wanted to put the solar panels on the roof. So here's a shot of me using a drafting ruler and some paper to do that. So here's the next shot of that one. So the first thing I did doing this project was set up the design, make the design of how I wanted to put the solar panels on the roof. So here's a shot of me using a drafting ruler and some paper to do that. So here's the next shot of that one. So I used some drafting paper and also a drafting ruler to draw a picture of the roof and where the pipes and things like that were in the roof. I did have some pipes. There was like one pipe right there, another there, and I have the kitchen vent over on this side, and there was one other pipe on the far right hand side. That one wasn't a factor, but these other ones were, I had to place the solar panels around those pipes, and I had to make sure that they would fit. And, I did write the like how far down those pipes were and how far over from the edge of the roof. It's like in this case, it was like 80 inches down and 74 inches to the right. And that was it was a pipe right there. I also had to do another one where there's a pipe down a little ways from that one. And that's a B pipe, and that was 81 inches from the side of the roof. And I put this one right here was 78 inches up from the bottom of the roof. I also had a stove vent on the right side, and I put those dimensions up there as well. That was right up there. So you want everything to be able to fit. So that's where you use a drafting ruler to help with the design and layout. There's your drafting ruler, and in this case, I use a 60 scale, which is right there. And how you use this is each one of those increments, like 0 to 2, that translates to like 2 feet on my picture. So anyway, that's how that works. People can do that however they want, but that's just how I did it. Okay, so this is what I got so far. I'm mounting 7 on the top and 7 on the bottom. And so, when I'm mounting them, what I did first was I tried to get the top rail mounted first, the one up there. Okay, and what I did afterwards is I connected a rope to help keep the next rail down parallel to the top one by measuring the distance with a tape measure. Okay, on my case, the mounting holes, as you can see up there, the distance between those two rails at the top is 33 3/4 inches. That matches up with the mounting holes on the back of the panels. So there's actually two sets of holes. There's one that's about 5 inches, maybe 6 inches from each end, and then there's another one like 15.5 inches from it, like inward a little bit more towards the center of the solar panels. So I'm using the second holes that are like about 15.5 inches down from each end, down and up from each end. There's some more videos of how that is. So anyway, this is the ropes. There is one way that I like had the top rail hooked up, have that one squared up with the top rail on the other side, and I used a chalk line to make sure that they were pretty close to being you know, on the same tracks as each other. Then I also went from there and I made sure it was somewhat level to the ground using a level, carpenter's level, that's about 4 feet long. So that's how I did that. Here's a shot of my carpenter's level, and I need to may wiggle the camera out trying to get a shot of this, but I need to tilt it up some. There's the bubble, and as you can see, it's pretty close to being in the center of those lines. A few micrometers is close enough for me. So there's that shot. So, you know, once you get one of them level, the top rail level, then you just got to make sure that the other rails underneath are perpendicular to that one, or not perpendicular, but parallel to that one by measuring the distance. Okay, the next thing took me a little while to figure out and master was measuring the where the rafters were underneath the roof. Now, no, I guesstimated by looking at these pipes, the ventilation pipes from my septic system. I went underneath the house, or up in the attic into the attic, and looked to see how far the rafters were from that pipe. I drew this little diagram and measured the distance left and right, and if I missed a couple times, what I did was, if I missed more than twice, I left the screw inside the roof, and I went into the attic and looked to see how far off the screw was from the rafter. You know, they were usually within like about 1/2 inch one way or another, but you know, that's, you know, once you got rafters, once you were hitting rafters pretty good, pretty much they're my roof, the rafters are 24 inches apart in the attic. So you measure 24 inches from each screw hole, each screw in the rails. So here's a shot of this one. I actually put 2 screws in this one so far. One right there, and there's another one down underneath that flashing. So those are 48 inches apart, and so that's two 24-inch distances. And you can also tell by stepping on the roof, is if you're stepping between rafters, the roof, you can see it go down a little bit, like a little bit mushy and bouncy. But you know, it's not really bad, but you can sense it after a while where you think the rafter is. But you know, once you Once you start hitting rafters, you know, it's pretty consistent though. Hopefully your builder of your house built it right and kept the distance 24 inches apart. So as far as I got one more 7-foot long rail that I cut that I need to put in, and this is how I do it. You know, first I tie it up approximately the right distance. So then I'm going to go up and I'm going to measure with a tape measure the distance from the center of the rail up here, the center rail part. I'm going to measure the distance from that location to the center of this one, the gap between. Okay. So you measure 33¼ inches once you get it set up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of these spacers that I got, like this right here. I'm going to set them up under it to get approximately the right locations of where they need to go. Those need to go above the rafters. And I'm also going to get the shingle loosened up a little bit to above it to put the flashing in. To put the flashing, get some of the roof cement. I'm going to squirt it underneath this. Squirt some underneath the flashing, and then also above it where the spacer's gonna go. And one thing I decided not to use wood. Some people I saw on the internet, they were using wood for the spacers underneath the rails. I said, no way I'm gonna use wood. I don't want to risk the chance of wood cracking and bumblebees trying to eat it, and you know, things like that. So this kind of wood that I used, I got it from Home Depot. Is supposed to be weatherproof and has like a 30-year guarantee on it. It's so anyway, I didn't use wood. I use this. It's kind of like a composite kind of wood, not particle wood. Of course, I would not use particle wood either. But I think I got it at Home Depot. It was in the aisle with the vinyl wood, vinyl simulated wood. It was pretty cheap though. It was like 8 or 10 foot sections for about $15. So not bad. So I cut 4 chunks of that off, 4 pieces, and then stacked them on top of each other to make the spacer. And I glued them with construction adhesive. So that's how those spacers were made. So now I'm going to get back to putting the spacers and the flashing underneath that bottom rail and show you how I'm doing it. So right now it's in the approximate location. So I'm gonna get the close to the correct position using tape measure and measure the distance from the one above. So in this case, it's going to be 33¾ inches from the center of the rail, from this spot up to the center of this one. Is how this works on mine. And that corresponds again with the distance of the inside holes, the mounting holes of the solar panels. Here's another thing I need to tell you. This is the screws that I use to mount the rails to the roof. There's 6-inch, 15 centimeters. These are timber tight. Now these have a bolt kind of end on it. I'm gonna get a shot of that. This is what the end looks like. It's like about 5/16 inch bolt end, and it usually comes with a little screw adapter or a socket that I use to drill. This is a shot of that. There that is. Like I said, I'm using a big drill to do it. Craftsman drill. There it is. Now, I want to let you know I did try some of these torque bit kind of screws. They didn't work. They suck. They're stripped out. I'm not sure if it was just the particular brand I bought, but I did not want to use these. I tried like one and the damn thing screwed up. So hell with that one. This is what it used to look like new. That's what it used to look like. After one time, the damn thing's stripped out. So take these things back to the store. This is a shot of the flashing that I'm going to stick under the shingle right before I screw down the spacer to it. So there's that is. Now I put some roof cement on that before I stick it in. Not before I do the spacers in. I make sure that the hole is going straight through it. You don't want that to hang up on the screws when you're screwing them into the roof. And of course, you know, that drill bit isn't going into the roof when I do that. So you don't want to drill through your roof. So here's the spacer. Now on the side that I'm putting on the roof, I'm squirting some cement on the bottom side to go on the flashing. And this is a shot of me getting ready to screw the rail down onto the rafters and into the roof. So that I put a washer inside there, and to make sure it holds the unit rail in. And I'm getting ready to screw it in right now. And I did hit the rafter because it was really tight going in. And so if you screw it in and the drill spins, that means you didn't hit the rafter, like when you're tightening the bolt. If you hit a rafter, it will actually stop the drill. If you just hit the roof plywood, it'll strip it out and it'll keep on spinning and it won't grab hold. So anyway, that's how you can tell if you hit the rafter or not. And this is again how I measure the distance between the roof rafters to make sure I actually hit the roof rafters. That screw is in the rafters, so you take a tape measure, you spread it along the roof, and there's the 48-inch mark right there, the black number right there. Okay, so there should be a rafter in that area too, and also there'll be one at the 24-inch mark right there. Should be one there too. I'll do the middle rafters in a bit as soon as I get the other ones in. So that's how I'm screwing the rafters, the screws into the rafters of the roof. Here's a little bit of a video about how I'm getting the solar panels up onto the roof. Now these panels, they are a little bit heavy, so I'm taking a winch and I mounted it to the ladder, and then I hooked up a rope to the panels themselves to help lift them up. I'm not trying to carry them with up on the roof with one arm. You know, I don't want them to drop and smash all over the place and be destroyed. You know, they're about $100 a piece, so I don't want that to happen. So I'll give you a shot of how I'm doing that one. Here's the winch. I got that at the top of the ladder, and I have the steel rope as the steel cable going down to the tops of the panels themselves. So on the panels themselves, I took some little clips and I connected to those mounting bolts. I think you can see those the clips, carbiners connected. Now these are lightweight ones, so you know the solar panels don't weigh that much, so you know they're not gonna break. So I've already tried a couple, so Anyway, it seems to be working okay. I'll show you a shot of that one. And there's the cable. I just got it connected to the couple of those spots there where I'm the bolts I'm using, the mounting bolts and nuts and stuff. I have it connected there. This is what it looks like bringing the panels up. So it is off the ground a few inches. I'm not gonna take a video of everything, but show a couple shots. It's about 1/3 of the way up now. Now the panel's about halfway up. Now it's about 3/4 of the way up. Now it's about as far up as I can get it. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unhook that rope right here from the hook, and I can lift it up pretty much from here. Lift up the panel and set it on the roof and get it up there. This is my solar panels that I have going right now. Right now I have 4 rails going right there, and I'm going to show you how I got the solar panels connected. Okay, first of all, on the back of the solar panels there's usually mounting holes. So as I said, there's usually mounting holes already put in the solar panels, at least on the frame. So on mine, there's a mounting hole up there. That's like about 5-6 inches from the top. And there's another one down here about 15.5 inches long, or down from the top. And this one right here is also 15.5 inches from the bottom. And this one right here is also the 5.5 inches from the other side. So you know there's a set distance on them. You have to measure your own to make sure the distance is according to your panels. But that's what these are. So on mine, I decided to put the rails on the top. I'm going to connect the rails on the house. So as you see the rails up in the house, there's the top 2. Those connect to one set of panels, and the bottom 2 are going to connect to another set of panels on the bottom. So you know, I only got a few up there right now. I'm just telling you how I did it. Now the rails, the distance I put the rails up on my house are going to correspond to the middle 2 holes on the solar panels. That's this hole and the one right there. That's the distance that I put my rails on the house. You spread them apart. That's how I got them spread apart on top of the roof. It's actually a 33 on mine. It's 33 inches between, or 33 3/4 inches between this hole and this hole. So the rails on the house are also that distance apart as well. So here's the rails. So the distance between the center of the rail, which is right there, center rail, that's that slot right there, and this second rail slot is 33 3/4 inches. That's what you want to go for. Okay, so that way the solar panels with the mounting bolts in the panels, it will just slide right between there and go all the way down. So that's how mine are working, and it works really well. Now I got to show you my bolts, how I have my bolts set up, and the nuts for that go on the panels. I'll show you how that works as well. Okay, so here's the bolts and washers that I use to put on the panels to connect them to the rails. Okay, so what I do, I made just some little flat plastic washers out of some soda bottles. I cut it into squares and punch some holes in it. I do that just to protect, try to keep the aluminum on the panels from reacting to the steel. I'm not sure if it's going to be a factor or not, but I'm doing it just in case, since it won't cost me anything extra, just a couple minutes time. So now I take these and hook them to the back of the panel, and I connect them up loose. I don't tighten it down. I just turn it just so the stop. These are stop nuts. So I screw it on so that the nylon part of the stop nut is onto the bolt itself, and I bolt them on loose. I just make sure that the plastic nylon part is a few turns onto the bolt itself. And this is how it's going to look after I mount it on the back of the panel. Got the bolt in. Now I put another plastic washer on it, and I put the washer on it. Then I put the stop nut on it. Sorry, I can't hold everything on there and do it at the same time. So I screwed in so the bolt is through the stop nut. 1 second, let me do that. So I mean, right now it's not through. In just a second, I'll show you the shot with it through. Now, as you can see, the bolt is through the stop washer about 1 or 2 turns. Okay, so that one's pretty much done. And now I do have to show you something special I did with these square washers on the bolt before I mounted it. 1 second, I'll get a picture of that one. Here's a shot of that square washer with the bolt going through it. Now, these washers, flat washers, are like 1.5 or 1 5/8 wide, and this right here, it fits in the mounting channels that the rails for the solar panels. Those fit in the rails between and the inside. And I'll show you a picture of that in a minute as well. But anyway, before I'm mounting this, there's one thing I did to those bolts is I welded on the inside. I welded that washer to the bolt so it won't turn. And I'm doing that because when these slide inside the rails, you won't be able to get to that side of that bolt, because it'll be, it'll be on the like somewhere slid in the rail system. It may not be on the end where you can reach the ones on the ends, but the ones on the inside you won't be able to reach because it's inside the rail. So that's what I did, is I welded it. Now, so since it fits inside the rail nice and tight, this won't be able to turn because, it'll be sitting in the rail, and the steel is like 1.5 inches, like a U-shaped channel, and the washer will fit right between, and it won't be able to turn. So you will be able to get to the nut on top of the rail. I mean, not the rail, but on top of the solar panel. 1 second, I'll show you that. So with this inside the rail, the channel of the rail, you won't be able to reach that bolt right there because it's on the inside of the rail. But the nut on top, you will be able to get to if you need to. It's not going to be very easy, but it can be done. And you can also tighten them up a little bit once you get them, this panels on the rail. But this needs to be loose. The bolts need to be loose while you fit the solar panel onto the rails. If you tighten it up too tight, you'll have a hard time getting the rail to fit between the solar panel frame and this washer nut. You want to leave it loose so you can fit it on. Once it's on there, then you can tighten it up if you want. But that's how I'm doing mine. So right now I'm getting ready to lift a solar panel up there and to get it ready to be mounted. Right now I do have two up there. There's a better shot of it. I do have two up there mounted right now, and that's what I'm using to connect them. This is the method I'm using. I'll get a shot of how that looks up there in a second. So in all these the rails that are up there right now, they do have to be parallel to each other when you mount them. And the distance, I said before, the distance that those rails are apart, they have to fit with those mounting holes in the solar panel. And I did another reason why I picked the mounting bolts, the middle two, is because I want to have access to those wires and the mounting assembly for the wires coming out. If I put the rails in the top one, the rail would fit straight across the top, and that'll make it a little bit of a pain in the to try to get to those wires if you need to. And this is the size of the bolts I'm using to use on the rails, to mount the rails to the solar panels. They are 1.5 inches long, 5/16 inches -18. And this is the 5/16 inch stop nut. And you can see the nylon insert at the top. The nylon insert at the top is like right in there. You can see it. So it's just not a regular bolt or a regular nut. You don't want these things to be able to back off while they're sitting in the rails. You don't want them to back off when after you get it installed. And I don't want to tighten them up really tight either. So I just want them to be a little bit snug. I want to be able to take them off easy if I need to. Now this is a shot of the one solar panel that's actually mounted onto the rail. So as you can see, inside there is that flat washer. It fits underneath. It fits in that channel. It fits in the channel right there in between, but it won't be able to pull through because that washer is hitting against these the piece of metal there that's there. But like I say, I don't have them cranked down, torqued, nothing but maybe barely 1 pound, those bolts and nuts, because I'm gonna put some I'm gonna screw some sort of bracket onto the end, somewhat like this. I probably screw it in something like this, one on each side. Screw it into the rail right there to keep it from backing out in case it wants to. But I'll show a video of that later on. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how this works on a rail that doesn't have any panels on it yet. So this is a rail right here I don't have any solar panels on it. Just I'm going to use this right here for demonstration purposes of how those solar panels are connected. So I just pretend that this is like a piece of the solar panel, and this is a side view of it. And how this goes on is you have all the you have all these the hardware, the bolts and the nuts in the panel. Then you take the solar panel and you bring it up to these rails. There's one right here, and then there's another down there. So you take the flat washer and you slide it. You slide the flat washer in that slot, under the slot, with a bolt in the middle, and this just like slides right in. And once I have it in at this point, I do turn the nut from underneath the panel. I turn that nut a few turns to get it a little bit snug. Not very, maybe like from 0 to 1 pound, but I don't tighten it up very much. I may tighten up the nuts on the ends, you know, being that I can get to those easily, and also I don't want those to back out. So that's how I'm doing mine as far as the hardware goes, and it's working out really well. But you know, you do have to watch your distance when you're mounting the rails on the roof to make sure that the distance between the rails is like 30, you know, the same distance of those holes, the inside holes on the solar panels. On my case, it's 33 and 3/4 inches, and they fit on really well so far. So you know, it's starting to rain now, so I'm going to take a little pause on the video. And here's another shot of the picture of the square nut and the bolt that's underneath there. How there's no way that I know of that I can really get to that nut very easily to get a hold of it with a wrench. I mean, you probably could get a wrench in there, but it's just a pain in the ass, and I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want anybody else to have to deal with it. So that's why I welded that bolt to that nut, that washer, the flat washer, because there's no way for that washer to turn very easily inside that channel, you know, because it won't be able to turn. So that's why I welded that bolt to it, to just get rid of that pain. Okay, this is part of the videos where I'm actually putting the solar panels on the rail that's already hooked up on the roof. And so what I do is I set up the panel close to where the rails are at, and you got to make sure I'm making sure that the wires need to be at the top, so I'm gonna do that. So in this case, the wires were at the top. So this is the top side of the roof, and there's the top part of where the wires are at up there on the solar panel. So there's 2 mounting spots, one about there and another one down here. So that's where the square nuts are in on the mounted on the back of the panels. They're already there. As you can see, they are. As you can see, that's that square nut. So I just gotta slide that square nut in between the rail there, underneath this part, and get one at a time in. So I'm gonna do the bottom part first, get it in there. I'll slide it on maybe like 1/2 inch or so, and then I'm gonna go to the top rail up there and get that one on. Okay, the square nut is inside the rail right there a little bit. I don't go too far. So now I just got to do the top one up there. Then I'll have the left side of the panel on. Then I'll slide it. Once those 2 are on, then I'll slide the rest of the panel close, you know, a little bit on, about almost all the way, to do the nuts and the washers on the other side of the panel. Okay, the two square nuts are in the channel right now. Now I need to slide it down a little ways to get to the other side so I can do the other side. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lift up on the back side of the panel, lift it up about the same height as the rails, and then push it over. And you have to be careful about doing this because you don't want those rails to be scratching on the underside, the vinyl coating on the underside of the panels. If you scrape it up and scratch it, it may really screw up the panels. So you got to be careful about doing that as well. This is what that looks like, sliding the panel onto the rails. Now that one side is on. So I pick this one up and I just push it on until you get to like where the panel, where the other nuts are at, and then you have to slowly get those on as well. Slowly slide this square washer under inside the channel. Do one at a time or so until you get them on. There it is. I got the other side on now. Now I can just slide it all the way down to the end till it meets the other panels on the other side. So this will be 3 I have on. So I just repeat the process on the rest of them until I get them all on. Yeah, see, they slide on really good. They slide on really easy once you get it on the rail. No problems after that. It's just getting them on there. And one last thing about slide them on, and you do have to be careful, like slide them over where you have 2 sets of rails where they connect. They may not be flush, so where it's not flush, you may have to guide it a little bit to come straight over and match up to the other rail a little bit. So it's not as hard as getting them on the whole way though. Here we go. I got it hooked up to the second rail, and now I'm gonna tighten them up a little bit. Tighten up those the nuts on the inside of the frame, the solar panels frame on each side. Tighten them up a little bit because as they are right now, they are probably a little bit loose. A little bit. There's probably like about 1/8 of an inch of gap that's right there, but I'll close it up a little bit. Maybe put like a 1/16 of an inch gap. But like I say, I don't tighten them down very tight though. I'll leave them a little bit loose. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully this video may help you, give you some ideas on how you can do your own solar panel project. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Be safe and peace.